Today we're going to rebuild one of the most common Fleck valves. This is the 2510 valve. This particular valve is an air injection system valve. You can see that it's been through the wringer, has a little bit of iron staining on it, and there's some iron staining inside. Now, these valves work really good for air injection. The biggest problem that they had was, depending on what the contaminant level is, you would actually have some seals and spacers that would start to tear. Also, they had a composite piston in there for a while. I think that was causing a lot of the problems too, but the steel pistons like we're going to put in today are better. This may have a steel piston in it, I don't know. We're going to put a new one in anyway just to show you. But the first thing that I do is I take the main valve assembly away from the controls just so we can get this big bulky piece out of the way and our cord and everything. So to do that, we're going to unscrew our screw here and open up our cover. Now our cover, you can take the hinge pin out like this and just get it out of the way. That makes it a little bit easier too, and plus we're going to want to clean that too, so we'll just get it separated now. And then this SXT control will pop loose and hinge out like this, and you can actually see, I don't know if you can zoom in here, but you can see the little clip that holds the piston. We're going to want to remove that, so I'm going to take a pair of needle nose pliers and pull that out of there and put it to the side, and then you'll see that the lever comes free. Now there's two screws that hold the valve to this backing plate, but there's also this brine valve, which in this case is the air injection valve, and it has a retaining nut here. So I go ahead and take this retaining nut loose too, because I'm going to take this apart and we're going to make sure it's clean, because there's some check valves in this opposed to a regular brine valve. We want to check and make sure it's clean properly. So once we have that loose, then we can take our large screws out here. And then you're going to kind of take the brine cap loose too at the same time. It's all going to kind of come apart together. See it all pull away there. Then you can pull the valve assembly away from the front end. Don't lose your two screws and your brine valve nut. We're just going to set all this to the side over here. Actually, I'm going to set it off the table here just so it's out of our way. Now, this is where the majority of your mess is going to be as far as iron staining and iron remnants. We're going to take the tube loose. This should be fairly clean. It may have some oxidation just because it's taking in air there. I'm going to take it loose here too. And then I want you to see in here, that's a one-way check valve in here. So air can pull in and go this way when the brine is pushed in, but it can't go back the other way. So I always verify that this is open. So I just take this off, and I do it the crude way and just blow some air through it. Then once we know that it's basically open, now we can clean that out, and we'll blow it out again and make sure it's nice and clear. But that's important that that stays open. If this gets clogged, then when you go to an air draw, then basically you can't pull air in because it's clogged. Or if this was a softener and this is clogged, then this would cause it not to be able to brine properly. So once we've done that, we're going to take what's called the throat and injector out. On these air injection valves, these can become plugged with iron, so I take these out and I clean everything in this whole mechanism here. Now, if you're careful, you won't have to replace any of these gaskets or anything in here. If you're careful when you take it apart, you can rip it. They're rubber, but they can rip if you're not careful. So see, there's the bottom one, so we're going to slowly peel that off and we'll put it to the side. And then this top plate has one that's stuck to it actually, so we're going to peel it off slowly. And let me take the screws out. Set it to the side. It's all this stuff with iron on it we're going to clean, so including that cap. Now inside of here, once you take this off, we have a little diverter here that just pops out of there. We're going to take that out so we can clean it good. But then we have a screen. It's pretty clogged up. And we have the injector, which is the top portion here. We're going to screw it out with a flat-headed screwdriver. Believe it or not, even though it's orange, it's supposed to be a bluish color. There's the blue at the bottom. And then there's a smaller one down here. We need a smaller screwdriver to get to it. It's called the throat. We're going to screw it out of there too. And that's our throat injector we're going to want to clean. We're going to clean this whole assembly, the screen, the ductor there, and we're going to make sure that that's free and clear with solution as well. So once we've done all that, then now we're going to pull out our drain plug, which you may have already pulled this out if you've left it on your actual drain tube. And usually that's where we're going to see quite a bit of buildup too, because that's where all the mess leaves the unit, is through this drain port. On the back side, if this was a softener, you would have two of these, or you'd actually have a meter block assembly here. But with this being an air injection valve, we have a one-way check here on the inlet, so we're going to remove that. Now there's some dirt on here, or some iron on here, but what we'd want to check is making sure that in here on this check valve there's no scores or whatever. When that check valve is closed, when this is clean, you can actually blow against that and no air should come through. If it does, then you may need to change the check valve, because without this check valve, air will start to escape through the system and ultimately into your plumbing and cause what's called water hammer, and you'll get some loud noises and things like that. You may even get a big burst of air coming out of your faucet when you open it. But we're going to take that and this intermediate piece out, both, and we're going to clean all that too. But you can see this one here has actually had some iron getting through it for a while. For whatever reason, it may be a case where the carbon in it was blinded up, or maybe it was being overran, I don't know. But once we have all these ancillary components off, then it's really just about the piston and the seal pack, which is the main portion of this rebuild. So now that we've got all that out of the way, we're going to pull this out. There's a good chance that the reason why we're rebuilding this is because there's a torn seal in here, and sometimes if there's a torn seal in here, this piston's not going to just pull out easily, so I may have to struggle a little bit to get this out, and we'll see how it works out. Yeah, I actually brought some of the seal pack and seals with it. Let's see if we can find the torn seal here. Yep, all those look okay, so we'll pull the ones out of here. Now these can be hard to get out, especially if there's buildup in here. We actually have a tool that will get the spacers out for you, and I'll show you that tool. I'll probably end up having to use it on this one. A lot of times you don't have to, but this one I think I am going to have to use it. We got one seal coming out the bottom here, trying to. Oh, there's our torn seal. That's the bad one. And that's what will catch the piston and hang it up, or you'll get constant water leaking to the drain, something like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and use this tool for this spacer because it's kind of locked in there. Now you can buy these tools, and if you're gonna have this valve, you may want to go ahead and buy these tools. I mean, I don't want to sound derogatory or whatever, but I'm really good at building this valve, let's put it this way. So for whatever reason, they have a lot of problems with these particular seals and pistons. So let's see if I can get this to pull out of there. There, came out of there. It's pretty stout though, and pretty dirty. Pull this next seal out. They usually roll out okay, and now see that seal is just totally destroyed. Let's see. Should be getting close here. One more spacer down in there. And that one came out a little easier. Still pretty dirty. Another seal. And then at the very end you have a butt spacer. It's white in color. Actually, you can see that it's a little white, and there's a certain way it goes in there. I'm going to show you that, but that's the end spacer. Once you have all those seals and spacers out, then the valve's basically stripped and we can start cleaning it. So we're gonna break for a minute here and go to cleaning, but what we use to clean is basically rust out or reducing agents, a sodium metabisulfite. You want to do it in a ventilated area, and you want to make sure you have gloves and everything on because that's, it is a chemical. But the idea is to get as much of this iron buildup out as we can. I have a series of brushes and things I'll use to clean all this up. So I'm not going to film the entire cleanup process, but I will come back after cleanup and we'll start assembly.